Alright, boys and girls, it's time. We're gonna add a little bit more power to the bird here, but first things first, we gotta do something about temperature. I want that thing to run cool no matter if it's going up a steep hill with 30,000 pounds behind it, or, well, hell, that's the only time it gets warm. So today I spent a couple bucks. First product I've ever bought from FLEECE, coolant bypass. They said thank you, so hopefully they're legit. Coolant bypass. I'm going to have the opportunity to install the coolant bypass. I wish, hindsight, I've had the transmission out of this when I did the clutch. That would have been perfect time to do a coolant bypass, but we're going to find out the hard way and somehow wiggle up in there. I've never done the coolant bypass before. This will be my first one. I have no idea how well one of these works, and I don't know, maybe somebody else on here doesn't know either, but coolant bypass, if you're not familiar, it takes the coolant from the back of the block and reroutes it all the way up right into your thermostat, right back to the housing. So it eliminates the high temperatures that cylinders 4, 5, and 6 will get, because there's just not a lot of flow. Almost as like the coolant gets trapped in the back of the block. So the FLEECE bypass, or the coolant bypass from FLEECE, it will take that and reroute it to the front. If you didn't know about the coolant bypass, now you do. So I'm very familiar with how this truck tows and what temperatures I will get at any part around the area I run in. So before I finish this video, I will do a road test to see if this product really works and how well it does work, because I'm pretty confident that I'm going to see results. So we're going to go ahead and start wrenching on this sucker. Well, obviously, if you're going to be pulling out a freeze plug out of the back of the block, you don't want to have any water coming out on you. So for some reason, my fancy radiator, the drain on it didn't want to work, so you got to go to the next best thing. Just put the old siphon hose in it, get her going. Alright, boys, so who has never done this before, what I did is, this is just a tire iron, stuck it up in there and you get it lined up with the freeze out plug, and then you beat on it with a bunch of times just in one spot, and you get it to work itself in on one side, and then hopefully all goes to plan. I'll show you here. Alright, so pretend that my hand is the block. This is the back of the block freeze out plug. If you hit it in the center, you're just gonna knock it in, and I don't know what you do then. So you hit it in one spot. You don't have to hit it hard. If you can, that's good. But I just hit it probably 50-60 times. Pretty good little hits, nothing too extreme. And you get it in one corner and you get it to spin in there, and then it pull right out. I pulled mine out by hand, and now what you got to do, you get that far. That was definitely a little bit on the stressful side, I would say. Come over to your little FLEECE box, rummage through it. There is a Brillo pad thing, it's supposed to be in here. There it is. You take that bad boy and you clean up that whole surface in there where the freeze plug went. You clean it up and you clean all the area around it where that bypass is going to go. Okay, next step, I would say it's a smart move to go ahead and put the hose on it right now, because it's gonna be impossible to get this thing in there, let alone tighten up a hose on there. If you're unfamiliar, it has a thermostat inside of there, so it's not going to be just pumping all the time. Because what you got to do is you got to lube this up here so your O-ring does not bind up when you're trying to put it in there. Then when you put oil on there, I'm just going to go ahead and use some of this Lucas High Heat grease. I'm trying to get a ton on there. I'll clean this up, but I'd just rather it be on there nice and good, and no worries. I can get a rag and tidy that up. Alright, so my plan here is to go in from the top, stick the hose straight down in there, and hope for the best. Hopefully I can get that sucker in there past all that mess. And one more step. I don't know if I look exhausted, but it wasn't, the hardest part wasn't getting the bypass thermostat housing thing in there. It was getting the bolts to thread in it. It scared the crap out of me. Both the bolts in there, I thought I cross-threaded it, but they were just, I thought I cleaned it out, but not enough. I had to bolt one in and out several times. PB blaster, sprayed it out with the air hose many times. But we got it done, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to putting that sucker up here.
I'm curious how that's gonna work with that sucker. Guess she's got room to stretch or something, I don't know.
We'll find out. So it's all finished up. It took me just over right about two plus hours. Not too bad. A couple hiccups along the way. Definitely could do it faster next time, but first time doing this, it's definitely not easy. So just be warned before you do that. I hope my video can help you guys figure it out if you're going to install one of these, but I am about to add the coolant in it. Everything looks all good up in there. Add some coolant in it, fire up the truck, and then I'm gonna go take it for a test drive. Towing. I gotta make a delivery tonight still, so we'll see if that thing actually makes the difference I'm hoping it does. So I'm gonna save you guys the coolant fill up. Double checking for leaks. I spilt a little bit, so that's what that is right there. And then the breather, when I filled it up, leaked a little bit out of the top of the radiator. And then on a 6.7, if you're not familiar, they do have a little thing that you can open up to vent out the system, so it has somewhere to breathe, so you can fill it up all the way to the top first try. But man, I'm excited to try this thing. Main thing, it's just a truck like this, or any truck, anything, is such a big investment. If it breaks down because of not taking care of your maintenance or whatever it might be, because like this thing, it works hard. I work this truck hard, and I only use it to tow the gooseneck. That's all I use this truck for. It's very rarely that I take that gooseneck off of it, so this thing's working 110% all the time. And I just want to protect my investment, even if it costs, you know, extra money. Like that, the fleece kit is not cheap by any means. But if it means protecting something like this, making it and helping it run as cool as possible, 100%, that's something I'm willing to try. I want to know if it's going to be, you know, worth it for me, and the only way I can know that is if I actually try it. And I want to see if it's going to be worth it for the next guy that wants to buy it if they see this video. So looks all good so far. Overall, it was kind of a pain to set up, put in there, but again, two and a half hours with fueling up the system with coolant again. Other than that, it went pretty good. You just really got to clean out the bolt holes that the kit uses on the back of your block and the back, or on the head, because after time, corrosion, rust, you know, any of that stuff getting in there, that made it very difficult to get the bolts in. And but just take your time if you're gonna put one in. Don't mess it up, because that's a very crucial thing to have coolant inside your engine. You don't want to be going down the road and lose coolant and then, you know, overheat and cook something. So always pray to God that I did a good job on my mechanicing, and we're gonna go test her out and we'll see how it does. Same test run up the hill, and I'm gonna do a couple more in town on the way to the job, so we'll see how this thing actually fares, and we'll give you a real assessment on this product and see if it's worth buying. So okay, so I didn't actually end up taking the truck and hauling some equipment that night that I finished this up, but I realized this would be probably a better video for just a simple how-to install. And I will do the road test later on, but I did a simple test run up the hill, and I could see a difference just in the regular with an empty truck. So I'm not really having too much doubt that I will see a good outcome and result with the coolant bypass, but I figured this video would be better off just as a how-to install, because the ones I looked up, in order for me to do this, I didn't really find much good information on YouTube about this, so I figured this ain't bad just on its own. But I will do a review on it, on how well it performs towing, and that is my biggest concern, is how well it does towing when it's working hard. So that will be to come, but until then, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.